the men are the one crying.
Wow.
And do you know what the women are saying?
Wow.
Because when we were younger, the common, popular or common phrases were the people like, pray for your family. So now, whenever the women come on Twitter, like
complain,
pray for your family.
pray for any mistake. For instance, if I broke a place, my mom is like, "Oh, is that what you would do in your husband's house?"
I'm telling you, come from the same.
Okay. It's like, is this how you're gonna do in your? So it's like your mind, like you say, groomed. Like everything you do, everything you're aspiring to be should be to that. Hello guys, and welcome to this episode, the very first episode, I must say, of my podcast, Truth and Therapy. This podcast is basically based on the stories of African girls, African women experiences, how we grew up. We're going to be talking a lot about our lives, money, sex, anything that has to do with you being black and African and in this world. So today's guest is a very special girl called Melissa. Melissa, thank you. First of all, thank you for coming.
I'm honored. Thank you for extending me this invitation.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I had to drag you out today. I was like, I was thinking okay, I want to start something like that also records the experiences of African women. Like, we also need a voice in history, in the society, with faces. And I was thinking, I know so many cool black girls. Why can't I start with people around me? That's the truth. I was like, why can't I start with people around me? I know so many cool black girls. And I was like, Melissa is on my list.
Wow,
Yeah, no,
the fact that you think I'm cool.
You are there.
You just cool. Okay?
She is cool. So like, she's on my list and I must bring her. So today I'm going to be talking with Melissa about finding yourself as a black girl, as an African girl in the world.
My name is Melissa, and I'd like to believe they'll know more about me once we
start talking.
Yeah.
Let's start with the goodies, with the good questions. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Zimbabwe. So I'm Zimbabwean, and I grew up in a very small town called Kwekwe.
Oh, okay.
So the population in Kwekwe is about an estimation of 120,000. So the community that I was in, it's almost, I think, it's the 20,000 ones.
Oh, okay.
So the actual community that I was raised in, it was near one of the biggest mining steel company in Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely it was a conservative, very small knit community.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very
tight. Everybody knows everybody. Everyone knows your father.
Yes, everyone knows me. I also knew everybody.
Okay.
I knew people that were in my class. I knew people that were in my sister's class and in my young. Like, I usually knew everyone.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so the another cool fact about the town that I grew up in, it's called the City of Gold.
Oh.
So there's a lot of small mining companies. Yeah, so it's a very small thriving company small mining town that I grew up in.
Oh, that's cool, because I think for me as a West African, I don't know much about like Southern Africans. That's what we would classify Zimbabwe as, right? Like Southern Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. We literally have no idea.
Yeah, we're a very cool bunch of people. Very Southern.
Oh.
Very down to earth people. Yes, very welcoming. And especially the town that I grew up in, very friendly people, very big on morals. Like, you greet every person you meet in the road, even if you don't know them.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a quiet road and it's literally two people crossing a path,
You must say hi.
you must say hi.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, and I think I would go back and live there again.
Same.
I like it. It's so close to my heart. It was a safe town, and people I don't think they would be. Okay, growing up back then, I might have thought maybe people were very
mean or strict.
Yeah, but now that I look day, I'm thinking,
That was a good life.
yeah, it was really good. Everything was easy. Everyone looked out for each other.
Right.
It was really a nice community.
I think that's one thing we miss as Africans. I also would say, like in my 60s, would I want to be abroad? No, I'd rather be back home.
I know,
It's cool. I
I
feel
know.
it's easier that way. Oh, that's good to know. In Zimbabwe, in your community, Kwekwe,
Yeah.
like how was growing up as a girl? Was it different? Or like, do you think it's like the regular girlhood of every African society? Or like,
I'm sure it's. I'm not so sure about the West African culture, but I'd like to think it's almost the same, challenging. So growing up in a tight or close community like that, it's you've got societal expectations that you need to conform to,
yeah.
and like the community that I grew up in, it's a small percentage of women went to work because remember it's a mining town. So usually
The men
are the ones that
they go out.
So,
I see.
so women usually are there as housewives. So they're literally like CCTV. They're out there looking at
Where you going, exactly.
So it was a community where everybody knew your business.
Yeah.
I might have thought back then that it was not okay, but now now looking back, it literally protected me as a girl child.
Wow. Yeah.
Because it was a community whereby any woman, so our parents, or it might not be directly my mother, but my aunts or people around me would make it a point to say things like, no, a girl child should wake up so early. You cannot wake up so late. You should wake up early. You make sure the house is clean. You need to know how to cook. And most of the time the conversation will always lead to, because we don't want you to get married and the husband sends you, there will be
shame on us.
You understand? So it's like that's what you are here for.
Exactly.
So they're grooming you to be a wife, someone's wife.
Yeah, it's actually bad. It's not. I feel like it's not like they meant it in a bad way, but that was what they did to like to prepare you for the society. For instance, any mistake. For instance, if I broke a plate, my mom is like, "Oh, is that what you would do in your husband's house?"
I'm telling you, come from the same.
Okay. It's like, is this how you're gonna do in your? So it's like your mind, like you say, groomed. Like everything you do, everything you're aspiring to be should be to the husband's house.
And I'm sure they did it out of love, because obviously this is how they were raised.
True.
As well.
Yeah.
So they will make comments like, my grandmother in particular, of course I didn't grow up with her, but whenever she would visit, she would say things like, why are you dragging your feet like that? Do you think your in-laws are going to... We were also raised to please. So etiquette, how you walk, you don't drag your feet.
Yeah.
Or you don't sit like that, you sit like this because you are going to be a woman and you can't be sitting like that in front of your in-laws.
Yeah.
So in some of the expectations as a girl child where you don't talk back.
Yeah.
And it was quite confusing sometimes, because let's say you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And your mom is obviously furious and she's maybe scolding you and you don't say anything. She's like, am I talking to myself? Answer me. The moment you answer, like,
so you have to go.
Oh, so you're a big girl now.
Exactly. You have to go. You have to go. Yes. Okay. So something key I picked from what you said right now is in their mode of training us girls, we were raised to people please. And and I think most African girls are people pleasers.
Oh yeah.
And I myself, I'm finding like in my 20s now, I'm trying to balance myself and make sure like every decision I make, am I doing this to please people? Is this what I really want? And like you said, not talking back.
Yeah.
And it made us suppress our emotions. Like even communicating as an adult is so hard. Like you have to be intentional to learn how to communicate.
Do you know how difficult it was to stand up for myself? And I believe it stemmed from someone saying you need, and also in not just how I was raised, not just my family. I know most Zimbabwean girls in particular.
Yeah.
You are raised to be a peacemaker. So they'll tell you, I'm raising you so that wherever you go, you don't get in the family and cause havoc. You're there to build. You're going to go there to build a family. You're not going there to separate this family.
Yeah. Putting the responsibility of other people on just you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it didn't make sense, because how can you be responsible but at the same time you're not allowed to say anything? Make it make sense.
Right. That's a good question.
It's something else, really, if you think about it.
That's a good question. Yeah, we bring us to my next question. Do you think, like, I think the African society, do you think it teaches girls to center men in their lives?
Definitely.
Yeah. Subconsciously.
So you might be told, because unfortunately, I'm a bad thing. I just think they contradict themselves a lot. Maybe, I don't know, because my mom or my mother figures, or people who were around me, would say, we're raising you to be a strong woman, you need to be educated, we don't want you to be just someone who stays.
You need to be educated and know how to take care of the home.
Yeah, so it's literally I know, and I don't understand why someone woke up one day and thought it was okay just to carry all that load.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And they'll be like, there are a lot of things that I used to see, my aunts or whoever next door, or stories that I used to hear about people who are told on how to act. So let's say they're married already, or they're about to get married, and there's trouble in paradise. It's the kind of advice that will be given that you realize, so all this is about making sure that the man is happy. It's never about you as the wife. And the common phrase is, you don't know men. That's how men are. You don't know men.
I think I call it infantilization of men. Like, they make men seem like they don't have sense. Like there's nothing, they're like they're babies.
They actually say that.
That's true. You know, men. They're babies.
Just do this.
And we should be the adults.
Yeah.
But we are also as the lesser humans.
So I'm going to be babying this person. I'm going to be the peacemaker. I'm also going to keep my mouth shut. But how?
That's a good question. Yeah.
But then somehow they will make it so sweet, like they're empowering you.
Yeah.
But I don't think
empowering you and taking away your voice. Empowering you, I think it's the patriarchal system of like the African society that has set that standard. But I think it's changing now. Like, how is your community now? I think with education, with women finding their careers.
My worry is now the community or my country as a whole now. It's actually getting out of hand. Instead of women taking their power and being civilized. They're overdoing it. They're now doing like tit for tat kind of thing. So back in the day, usually you'd get advice like So back in the day, usually you'd get advice like
hold the mic up like you.
So some of the advice you'd get as a woman is, you need if your man does this, or if there's trouble in your home, you settle it. You don't tell everybody.
Yes.
You keep it to yourself, or you tell the necessary, like the people that are supposed to know.
Okay.
And you handle it in such a not professional. What's the word? You handle it in such a
private way.
Yes. And the dignity. You keep the dignity, right? But now, because the girls have seen all this happening and they realize,
like, nah, it's not gonna be me anymore.
They're actually doing what the man was doing to them.
And that's interesting.
In my mother tongue, we've got this phrase that says, shiri yakabvutareke. Let me elaborate.
Yeah.
So we have a rubber sling that we use to catch birds.
Okay.
Like
I know it. Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it in your language. So in this in this case, what the phrase it means is, in this case, it's the bird that realize, okay, you always catch me all the time. Instead of letting the sling hit it, the bird came and took the sling. And it's now getting the hunter.
I think in the Nigerian community, there's a saying like, one day bushmeat will catch the hunter.
Oh,
Like the hunter is always going for the bushmeat, but one day tables
so
have turned.
now where I come from, if you're on any social media platform,
Yeah.
if you go on Twitter especially, the Z-men are the one crying.
Wow.
And do you know what the women are saying?
Wow.
Because when we were younger, the common, popular or common phrase
Yeah.
where the people be like, pray for your family. So now, whenever the Z-men come on Twitter, like,
Complain.
pray for your family.
Pray for your But like, we've endured this all these years. We're not our mothers.
Use your knees.
Pray also. I can imagine. Oh my God, that's so funny. Okay. One thing is, like, I think is a myth in the Nigerian society is almost non-existent, and I'm